We'll take leaders' questions under Standing Order 36, and I call on the Leader of Sinn Féin, Deputy Mary Lou MacDonald, please.
Merci beaucoup. Taoiseach, for more than a year, households have been hammered by a cost of living crisis that's out of control. Workers and families do all they can to keep up with sky-high bills and runaway price increases, but people still can't catch a break or catch a breath. Crucified by the extortionate cost of housing, of energy, of fuel, of groceries, of insurance, everything going up and nothing coming down. Last night, a government minister offered people the following advice on dealing with this cost of living crisis. And his big idea: stop complaining and shop around. Callous and indifferent remarks from a minister who is paid €140,000. Minister Fleming has form in blocking legislation that would force big insurance companies to stop fleecing their customers. And his words reflect the attitude of a government that is utterly out of touch with the struggles of ordinary people. Because many households today decide whether it's best to pay their massive gas bill or to put food on the table. It took your government a year to wake up to this crisis. For months, Taoiseach, we have asked that you remove VAT from energy bills, but you did nothing. No work with the European Commission, no effort at all. And now you spend another 4 months talking about possible actions. Indeed, in the time it takes government to give people a one-off payment of €100, you've managed to give one top civil servant 2 pay hikes worth €6,000. No dithering, no delay there, done with the snap of your fingers. But when it comes to workers and families, the response from government is slack, no urgency, no determination to get the job done. And there are a lot of things that can be done to tackle this cost of living crisis. Sinn Féin has proposed these measures: cutting rents, banning rent increases, cutting childcare costs, expanding eligibility for the fuel allowance. And we've also called on you to scrap your planned carbon tax hike. This hike will increase gas bills and push home heating oil costs up substantially at a time when people are struggling. Carbon tax hikes add to the cost of everything, particularly food, due to increased transport costs. And farmers have been telling you this for a long time, but you just haven't listened. Is ulach trume an geircim custas varactala? Todini fui vrú ulwar ag iach billy fuinev mora. Is beceart an rialtas fall ré leis na hardaithe cána carbón atá multa. Ní dhéanfaí sé ach an saoil níos deacra. Taoiseach, hiking carbon taxes is the wrong call at the wrong time. Your €100 credit is far too little for far too many families. And March is very far away for people who can't afford their energy bills today. So that payment must be increased and delivered quickly. Taoiseach, scrap the carbon tax hike and set out how you will support struggling families in a meaningful way, because make no mistake, workers and families now need a bailout. We need a package of measures for those on low and middle incomes.
Thank you, Ceann Comhairle, and I thank the Deputy for raising what is a very important issue. And could I at the outset say that since this government came into office, in the midst of a global pandemic, a 1 in 100 year event, the government has intervened to an extraordinary degree to underpin incomes, to support lower income workers, to keep people in jobs, and to support enterprises. And that has been an effective and successful intervention in underpinning our economic activity. No question about that. We supported workers from the get-go of the formation of this government. And could I say that this time last year, indeed, a barrel of oil on international markets traded at $61. Today, it's at $91 a barrel. That wasn't caused by carbon tax. That is a global phenomenon. So let's not try and misrepresent the issue for the public out there who are watching. A litre of petrol cost has risen 38% over the same period, an increase of 28%. Gas prices on international markets have nearly quadrupled over the past year. The average annual gas bill has risen by several hundred euros. And again, all of that, vast majority of that, very little to do with carbon tax. And that has to be said. And to talk about proposals to reduce VAT, we've been over this before. I know the Czech Republic example has been cited by the Deputy and so forth in the past. But it's interesting, before the last general election, the Czech government, which was only before Christmas, reduced it to 0. There's a new government now in, it's gone back up to its standard rate of 21%. Ireland already has a derogation on our VAT. If we were to do a temporary reduction, we'd lose the derogation and could end up back at 23%, which would be a much higher cost of VAT, which we do not want to do on fuel. We want to keep it at the rate that we are at 13.5%. And that has all been explained. And you know, in the United Kingdom, the US, again, we're looking at multi-decade highs in terms of inflation. The euro area inflation rate now is at 5.1%, an all-time high. And the US is even higher again. So we do understand that the people are under significant pressure arising out of this inflationary cycle. As a result of that, in the budget, we allocated well over £1 billion to a number of measures to increase incomes or disposable income for the people, both in terms of tax income relief of about 525 million, and also then significant proposals in and around social protection in terms of the fuel allowance. For example, since coming into office, the government has raised fuel allowance from €630 to 914, and if you couple that with the 113.50 electricity payment, the government support for those on low incomes has increased by 63% to 1,027, and we're going to do more. We're going to do more on that front, because the challenge for us is we can't chase inflation. From a macroeconomic point of view, that's been tried previous decades, it didn't work. We've got to cushion the blow of this inflationary cycle, cushion the blow for those most in hardship, those most at risk. We've got to target the measures that government is currently examining to do just that, and that's what we intend to do, and to alleviate people more generally in terms of these pressures. And the government has a number of measures under consideration to help people over and above what we've done already in terms of the budget, and that will be the basis for our actions later this week. Agus tá sé in team go bhfuil brú file roghine fi láthir, ní le an áras frí sin tá pacáiste le tacht ón rialtas chun cara agus tá cíocht a chuairt a cosfuointe na tíre sin.
Taoiseach, what people who are living this struggle have had from government is delay, dithering, lack of clarity, bar the one minister who has been very clear and told people stop complaining and shop around. I take it from you, Taoiseach, that that's not the official advice from government, because I might say to you by way of response that government should stop dithering and should intervene in a way that is proportionate to the very real struggles that people face. And at the time of the budget, which you mentioned, you fell short on the social welfare adult payments. You fell short in terms of the fuel allowance, the season itself and extending eligibility for it. You fell short over months now when Sinn Féin has called on you for a discretionary fund to package and tailor initiatives, particularly at low and middle income families. What do we get? Mañana, dither and delay. And that's simply not good enough now. So Taoiseach, I want you, as a first action, and it's not the be-all and end-all, but it's an important first action and signal to state categorically that you will not proceed with the carbon tax hike in May at a time when people are struggling to afford a fill of home oil. Can you make that clear, please?
Taoiseach.
First of all say that Budget 22 increased the weekly rate of the fuel allowance by €5. We increased the qualified child payment the living alone allowance, the income threshold for the working family payment. Total cost of that was about 146 million. Where is that revenue coming from? It's coming from the revenue raised by the carbon tax. Today, the Minister for Energy will announce a very significant and comprehensive retrofit programme. Objective of that retrofit programme is to reduce the cost of living on an ongoing basis in terms of home heating and in terms of making more cheaper to heat and more comfortable and healthier homes over time. 200 million this year alone will come from the carbon tax to go towards that measure. Carbon tax is going back to the people. In terms of better environmental farming practices, it will go to farmers, particularly low-income farmers. It will go to people in terms of retrofitting their houses so that they're more efficient energy-wise and ultimately reduce costs. And they'll also go towards fuel poverty. And that's why we allocated it towards fuel poverty in the budget. The problem, Deputy, is this, that we are putting it out transparently and honestly. We are saying to people that the revenue that's raised, all of it, goes back to the people on schemes that over time will be very both effective and better for the country in terms of the capacity to retrofit, but also fuel poverty and to protect people much better than was done in previous times because of the revenue that's going to accrue.
Now